Welcome, everybody. I am excited to have another presenter discussion, this time with Michael Tritthart, as you can see, out of the great Lone Star Republic of Texas.
That's right.
And we are going to be talking about, we're going to be continuing on that conversation we had last year about his background as a football coach and what he sees as an instructor and a technology instructor flying all over the country, and what that means for what you can learn at his session in Myrtle Beach at the RIA conference in July. Mike, thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, Robert, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me back on.
So again, I am fascinated by the fact that an old, gruff football coach is now a real estate instructor.
Right.
I mean, it fascinates me, that story. Can you kind of retell that story
Yeah,
a little
sure.
bit?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Oklahoma, and we moved down to Texas in 1995. We pretty much did all of the life stressors in about 3 months. I graduated college, we got married, we went on a honeymoon, we bought a house, we moved out of state where there was nobody there, and we started our careers. And I started as a teacher and a football coach, and I did that in 1995 for 6 years. And there's books about Friday Night Lights, and my wife, her uncle is actually in the book Friday Night Lights. He beat
Hmm.
Odessa that year, and he's kind of like a big thing in the Texas high school football world. And did that for a crazy 6 years. And the book and the movies and the TV show of Friday Night Lights, I'm like, yeah, it's pretty accurate. Not the crazy tackling,
Hmm.
but the stress, the pressure, the expectations. I was working at one of the highest level school districts here in Texas, and we walk out to games and we have 30,000 people in the stands for some of our playoff games. It's a wild experience. It was fun.
It's
It was
it's
great.
hard to imagine educating, because essentially, right, you're a high school football coach. You
Yeah,
are an educator, right? You're
absolutely.
you're not you're not an NFL coach. You're not even a college coach. Your job is to get those kids to graduation at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Blows my mind to sit there and think how you operate, knowing full well that the goal is to educate, but you're essentially a minor league football coach at that level in Texas when you're talking 30, 40,000 people in the stands.
Yeah, and we are teaching a full load of classes as well too. So it's not just strictly coaching. It was 7 days a week. It was about 115 hours a week when we were in season, and our season would go from July until we got knocked out of the playoffs. So
Hmm.
it was intense.
God bless you for it.
My last year coaching, I sat down and did the annual or the hourly pay rate, which I don't suggest for anybody,
Hmm.
right? And it was 36 cents an hour. So I was like,
Good Lord.
yeah, I'm like, I'm out, right? So I left in 2001, started
Yeah.
to train real estate agents. I joined a local title company here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, started to train real estate agents, got a lot of my classes CE certified. I believe I was either the first or second one in the state of Texas to get technology courses CE certified for real estate agents.
Hmm.
And started to work for a local brokerage a couple years later. And from that, just started to travel and train all across North America, providing lead generation, social media marketing, business growth type sessions. But I think the background of being a teacher, being a football coach works well with these sessions because it's very much kinesthetic. It's very much hands-on. And,
Hmm.
and even if it's a presentation like what I did last year in Memphis, we still try to make it as hands-on as possible in any of those sessions. And that's always the highest rated uh, effect and observance of all my classes. People are like, oh, I love the hands-on. I love the fact that we can go in and have practical application right then and there.
Absolutely. Which I would imagine, again, being a hands-on coach in the environment you were, you're now traveling around the country, which means you're seeing that similar experience of different backgrounds, different sets of expectations, different struggles, all
Absolutely.
around that common problem that you have of lead generation,
Right.
reputation management, everything like that. How are you now handling that 20 years down the road as a real estate instructor and technologist in the industry?
So I think one of the obstacles, the mental obstacles that real estate agents run into when they are coming into like a lead generation environment, they're immediately are going to be like that. No, my market's different than everyone else. Well, I've been doing this now since 2001. I mean, what, 24 years, almost 25 years. And I've got a wide swath of success stories, examples that I can share with them all across North America that say, look, this technique I'm teaching you, this works in New York, this works in Texas, it works in South Carolina, it works in California, it works everywhere, right?
Hmm.
It comes down to application, which is again bringing us back to the main point of my training sessions, which is all about tell, show, do. I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to show you. Now let's go do it, right?
Hmm.
Let's go rep it. And it's the same thing when I was teaching and coaching. I was like, I can show you on the board the play as many times as you want me to show you, but until we go out and start knocking heads around and
Hmm.
doing what we need to do to have a successful play, you're not going to learn it. And it's the same thing with the agents until you kind of get in there and roughhouse a little bit with the lead generation and start to do a little bit of A/B testing and make sure it fits for your message and how you want to present yourself to your audience. You're not truly going to know until that it's going to work until you start to try to do it.
Now, do you find that same sort of conversation happens with instructors? Because obviously, instructors fill a very specific niche in the industry.
Right.
And I know I have conversations with instructors quite often where they're like, "Well, we don't have to worry about lead generation. It's handled for us by by what it is that we do."
Yeah.
How do you approach that conversation with instructors who may not own schools and who are just there to teach as part of a school or teach a CE class all on their own?
You know, it, you've got to, in my experience, you've got to create an environment where it's a learning environment where instead of them just clocking time, like,
Hmm.
oh, I'm here to get my CE and just get out of here. And what I learned years ago when I was a young teacher is the best way to teach is to share stories, right? Because you don't really want to read from a textbook. You don't really want to read from the outline that's being presented or whatever. But if you can make the material relatable to them and you can tell these stories in a manner that really impacts them, then I think that moves you from being just an instructor to actually an educator, somebody who's actually making a difference in these people's lives.
Which is you probably experience, right? The best lead generation you have are the good reviews you get from people that are inspired by what you do. So you're doing lead generation in the course of educating, of
Absolutely.
inspiring,
Yeah.
of those 3 hours you might spend with somebody delivering credits.
And if no matter who they are, if you pour into them, I've always said it's going to come back to you 10x, right?
Hmm.
And it may not be immediate, it may take a while, but I've had that for years where people go, I was in your class 4 years ago, and now I want you to come out and teach in my association. I remember how impactful that class was for my business. Can you come out and do it? I'm like, yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
So you've got to treat every moment as a teachable moment, but also as a lead generation opportunity, as a business owner, as a school owner. You just never know what's going to happen. Don't just clock time. Is basically what I'm
Hmm.
saying. Like give it 100% every time.
Perfect, perfect. And that, which of course leads us into the RIA conference. We're going to have a ton of people there teaching on a variety of different topics. I know I get the privilege of being able to share my model for how to train AI employees. You have something very specific as well. Can you give us a little nugget of your presentation about what we've just been chatting about?
Yeah, absolutely. So last year I had the opportunity to train at RIA in Memphis on Google, a lot of very specific Google items. This year it's going to be a completely different topic. It's another one that I call Generate More Leads for Free. And I tell everyone this is the potpourri class. It's a little bit of this, it's a little bit of that. We're going to start off and we're going to talk about branding. And a lot of agents, a lot of business owners, a lot of schools have branding issues. They're somewhat difficult to find online. And I'm going to show them some free tools that are going to help them to very easily improve their brand and just highlight themselves. When somebody's going out and Google searching, like they meet you at RIA or they meet you somewhere else, and they want to work with you, well, what's one of the first things they're going to go out and do? They're going to go out and look you up online. They're going to go to Google. And we want to
Hmm.
make sure good things are showing up for you as an individual. So that's one of the things that we're going to start with. Then we're going to go in, and this aspect is going to be really for the real estate agents in the room. We're going to talk a lot about community and how you can market yourself and be a promoter, not just of real estate, but a promoter of your community. And that's a big central theme within Become Google Great, where I
Hmm.
really stress to them, become the hub, right, for for everybody. You want people knocking on your door as a real estate agent going, hey, Robert, quick question. I know you don't do this, but I know you know somebody who does. Who do you know that does dot,
Hmm.
dot, dot? And if you can get yourself positioned like that as a real estate agent, as a business owner, good things are going to happen. And so we're going to spend a lot of time on that. And then we'll get into some social media elements. We'll touch on AI. I mean, again, it's the potpourri class. We're going to hit a lot of different things that are going to help people to build and grow their business, whether they're a real estate agent, whether they're a school owner, or somebody else in the room. It's going to be applicable to everyone.
Man, that sounds awesome. And there are so many classes like that, so many sessions like that at the RIA session that everybody's just going to get. It's almost going to be overwhelming, but that good overwhelming,
Right.
where it's like the two a days in the summertime practices, right? You
Exactly.
know, you're just getting the snot kicked out of you, but you know it's going to pay off
Right.
in very short order. So, Michael, thank you so much for sharing some moments with us today. I know this session, every time I get to do it, I get inspired by the person that's talking to me, and even just listening to the way that you talk has already gotten me even more excited than I already was about traveling out to the RIA conference. So thank you for that. And if
Appreciate
you're
it.
as excited as what Michael was just talking about as I am, you can register for the conference right now at riaconference.com. Early bird rates are going on until I believe the end of May. So you have time, but that time is going to trick you up and absolutely trip you up if you don't register right now. RiaConference.com. Put Michael's session on your calendar. Get ready to have your mind blown and have the best potpourri blend in real estate
That's
when
right.
you go visit with Michael. So,
Yeah.
Michael, thank you again, man. Appreciate
I
it
appreciate it,
deeply.
Robert. Thank you.